Okay, so let us now go to the 1973 Constitution. So you're seeing a number of resolutions, proclamations, presidential decrees on your screen. You are not required to memorize or to even take note of these. The information you see on your screen is to help you contextualize the 1973 Constitution. Moving forward, according to De Leon, due to the problems associated with a rising population, Resolution Number 2 was adopted. This was modified through Resolution 4 in 1969. The resolution authorized a constitutional convention in 1971. Through RA number 6132, an election date was set to choose the members of the Constitutional Convention. Now, what is a constitutional convention? It is a gathering of people with one agenda, and that is to modify the 1935 Constitution. The following year, they started their work, and that specifically was on June 1 1971, and the Constitution was signed on November 30 of 1972. Now, through Proclamation number 1081, martial law was declared. Through Presidential Decree number 86, the citizens' assemblies were established. Now, for each barrio of municipality and districts of chartered cities, citizens' assemblies were established. Through PD or Presidential Decree number 86-A, the roles of the citizens' assemblies were established. First, no, these citizens' assemblies were tasked to answer two questions. First, do you approve of the new constitution? And the second question that they were tasked to answer was, do you want to have a plebiscite to be called to ratify the new constitution? So from January 10 to 15 of 1973, the referendum was set. 2 days after the referendum, the result of the referendum was revealed now through PD number 1102. So the results are the following. Now, 14,976,561 members of all the barangays approved the new constitution, and 743 and 869,000 rejected the constitution. So you can see that it was overwhelmingly yes. Now, as to the question on the need to have a referendum, 14,291,000 and 814 said that there was no need for a referendum. So this meant to say that the approval now of the 1987 Constitution stopped at the level of the citizens' assemblies and did not now go through or was not decided by all the registered voters in the Philippines at that time. So let us now go to the executive branch as defined in the 1973 Constitution. Now, the president will be elected every 6 years through popular election. So this means to say that the person who gets the highest number of votes will become the president. Now, if ever the president is unable to do his or her duties due to death or disqualification, or that a president was not chosen, the prime minister will take over until a new president is chosen. Now, if the Batasang Pambansa, which is the legislative branch, loses confidence on the prime minister, the speaker shall take over the executive committee. In the absence of an executive committee, the Speaker of the Batasang Pambansa shall act as president until a president shall have been elected and qualifies for that position. So it is also important to note that in the 1973 Constitution, there is no mention of a vice president. So let us now go to the powers of the executive. So the president shall have control of the ministries. The ministries are what we know of at present as the national government agencies or NGAs, or departments such as the Department of Education, the Department of Public Works, and Highways. Now for Section 9, it states that the President shall be Commander-in-Chief of all armed forces of the Philippines, and whenever it becomes necessary, he may call out such armed forces to prevent or suppress lawless violence, invasion, insurrection, or rebellion. In case of invasion, insurrection, or rebellion, or imminent danger thereof, When the public safety requires it, he may suspend the privilege of the writ of habeas corpus or place the privilege or any part thereof under martial law. So again, who is the commander-in-chief of all armed forces of the Philippines? It is the president according to the 1973 Constitution. So, due to the reasons just stated a while ago, the writ of habeas corpus may be suspended. So kindly research about the writ of habeas corpus, and that another option would be to place the Philippines or any part thereof under martial law. Now, as stated in Section 10, the President shall appoint the heads of bureaus and offices, the officers of the armed forces of the Philippines from the rank of Brigadier General or Commodore, and all other officers of the government whose appointments are not otherwise provided for, those whom he may be authorized by law to appoint. However, the Batasang Pambansa may by law vest in the Prime Minister, members of the Cabinet, the Executive Committee, courts, heads of agencies, commissions, and boards the power to appoint inferior officers. So through this, we can see that it's not just the President who can appoint, no, but also other people in the government can appoint people who are considered as of lower ranks. Now, the president, let's look at section 11, except in cases of impeachment, may grant reprieves, commutations, and pardons, remit fines and forfeitures, and with the concurrence of the Batasang Pambansa, grant amnesty. Now, the president may contract and guarantee foreign and domestic loans as well. And this was one of the issues identified as a problem during the Marcos administration, that the economy was for a period of time running because of debt. So an economy heavily relying on debt cannot be sustainable. Now, also, the president can formulate the guidelines of national policy which will be addressed to the Batasang Pambansa. Again, the Batasang Pambansa is the legislative branch of the government. At present, this is done through the SONA, or the State of the Nation address, where priority bills are communicated. So usually, priority bills of the president are given attention to by the legislative branch in the Philippines due to the weak nature of political parties in the country, where turncoatism, or the changing of political party membership, is common. So as such, now what usually happens is politicians join the political party of the sitting or current president and change membership if the next president belongs to a different political party. Hence, political parties are not distinguished due to ideology, but rather due to personalities. This is why the Liberal Party is identified with the Aquinos. Now, this is in contrast with the case of the US, where there is a clear difference between the Republican and Democrat Party in terms of ideologies or programs being supported or espoused. Now, for Section 15, which is also true with the 1987 Constitution, the President shall be immune from suit during his tenure. Hence, no suit or case whatsoever shall lie for official acts done by him or by others pursuant to his specific orders during his tenure. So, let us now move forward to the legislative branch. Again, for the 1973 Constitution, the legislative branch was renamed Batasang Pambansa, which was composed by not more than 200 members. What makes the Batasang Pambansa unique was that the members were elected or selected from various sectors as may be provided by law, and those chosen by the President from the members of the Cabinet. At present, people directly vote for the members of the legislative branch by voting for their district representatives and the senators. Party list representatives, which comprise 20% of the House of Representatives, may not be directly voted by the people, but still, no, people vote for the party list. So the winning party lists will then send their chosen representatives to the House of Representatives. Now, in the 1973 Constitution, we can see that there are some members who are chosen by the executive or the president, which signifies that the president has an influence on the membership of the Batasang Pambansa. So this disrupts the checks and balances principle now of the three branches of the government. So through this, we see the dominance of the executive branch. Now, from the Batasang Pambansa, the Prime Minister will be chosen, and that is the system in parliamentary forms of government. So let us now go to the judiciary or the judicial branch of the government. So the Supreme Court is composed of the Chief Justice and 14 associate justices. So it is the president now that appoints the members of the Supreme Court. Now let us go to the modifications or the amendments which were introduced to the 1973 Constitution in 1976 and 1981. It is important to note that martial law was lifted in 1981. So let us now go to the modifications as identified by Hector de Leon. So first, the incumbent president became the regular president and the regular prime minister. It is important to note that usually in parliamentary forms of government, the prime minister is different from the regular president. Second, the lawmaking powers were granted to the president after the removal of martial law in 1981. In a strictly parliamentary form of government, the lawmaking power belongs to the legislative branch, or in the case of the Philippines, it should belong to the Batasang Pambansa. With the amendment to the 1973 Constitution, the Batasang Pambansa was renamed National Assembly. Since the president was granted lawmaking powers, there was now a shift to a modified parliamentary form of government. Next, natural-born citizens who have lost their citizenships were granted to be transferees of private land to be used as their residence. Next, grant of lands of public domain were given to qualified citizens. Issues regarding this is the granting of land to the cronies or friends of Marcos. And we now see the implementation of urban land reform and the social housing program.